All right, and there we are. We're live. It is Wayne G with Sully. What's going on?
Yo, what's poppin'?
I got a lot to get to today, so just like last week on Wednesday, no dilly-dally. We're just going straight into our intro video because we got a lot of stuff to go over. So let's kick it off here.
Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! Three-run Jimmy Jack first big league home run for Mike Trout.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
And an 81-point game. 55 in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you enjoyed the intro video. It is Monday. In case you can tell by our energy, we are definitely having a case of the Mondays. So, thanks for joining me, Sully. It was kind of a late. People don't realize because they just tune in. You're already on there, but it was a little bit of a late jump on.
Yeah, had shit to do. It's a Monday,
Yeah.
My bad. Didn't mean to get your 60-year-old heart in a bustle.
I know. I was having a stroke. So thanks for joining us. Obviously, you're watching us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, on our Infinity Sports page, on the RTF Sports page, or the All ACCS page. Obviously, you can find the show gets rebroadcast in audio format. Let me scroll up here. I would say that, and then if you're listening, you don't know that I'm scrolling up. Actually, Sully doesn't know I'm scrolling up. So it doesn't matter.
I don't even know you're scrolling up.
Infinity Sports Podcast. This is actually our social media, but still, at Infinity Sports Podcast on Facebook, at Infinity Sports Podcast on Instagram, at Sports Infinity 5 on Twitter. InfinitySportsPodcast.com has it all there. YouTube channel, all the social media, interact with us, email, everything. So you can get in touch with us any single way. And then, like I said, on the All ACCS network, thanks to our new logo, you can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and of course, YouTube will replay the video. I do recommend that for days like today where we have lots of visual stuff popping in and out, and obviously getting to see people's comments. We try to read the comments like, hey, so-and-so said this, but sometimes we don't, so that's our bad. If you watch the video, though, hey.
You got all that on tap. You don't need all the visual cues.
We do have a lot to get to today. Like I said, ton of stuff to get to. We've got some NFL. We're going to recap all of Week 4. We got the NBA Finals we're going to talk about, Major League Baseball playoffs. And first things first, though, let's kick things off with everybody's favorite segment, the news. Vegas taking bets on whether I will remember to turn the volume up before we get to Kenny. So the first thing on the news, now the thing everyone's talking about right now we'll get to last because it's the newest thing. I had to add it last second. So I kind of have things in order here. First things first, it's the oldest news, but Bob Gibson, 1935 to 2020, 84 years old, the man, the myth, the legend, he passes away. I know 84 years old, had a great life, right? I mean, superstar pitcher. I feel like 84 is pretty good. I mean, if I lived to 84, I think that's pretty good.
I agree. 84 is a long time. He was an incredible pitcher, and and hopefully led a great life. I obviously know nothing about his personal side or in his life after baseball, but he was. I heard a crazy stat today. I don't remember what year it was, but he pitched 20. He completed 28 games. He started 32. In the other 4 games, he wasn't even replaced by a pitcher he was pinch hit for. So he was never actually pulled from a game. That's wild.
I was looking at his career stats. I'd written them all down here. I had 251 career wins, 255 complete games. So basically he was pitching the whole game if he was pitching.
Exactly.
2.91 ERA career, pretty solid. 3,117 strikeouts, part of that 3,000 strikeout club. Obviously everyone I think remembers him for that 68 season, right? 22-9, 1.12 ERA, 8.53 WHIP, 268 Ks. Now I didn't realize. I thought 8.53 WHIP. I mean that's really good, But it's actually 20th all time for a season. Who do you think he has number 1?
Mariano.
It is actually Pedro.
Ooh.
In 2000, his WHIP was 737.
Jesus. I mean, that season is the best, is the lowest ERA of a season of all time, though, for a starting pitcher, though, right?
Yeah, the 1-1-2.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible season. It's definitely, I think, I mean, when you think of greatest seasons of all time, it's up there.
And at least he got 22 wins, too, because when I think of that season that Clemens was with the Astros and his ERA was like 1.56 or something like that, but he was 10-11 or something. So, total waste.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it obviously you need your offense, to help you, but in that case, you're Jacob deGrom.
I was just going to say Jacob deGrom every year.
Every single year of his career. He now holds the record for it's most games going 8 innings, allowing fewer than 2, and not getting a win. And it's like 10 games or something like that.
That's a fun stat to have. I mean, if I'm a pitcher.
He got it by losing the 2-1 game to the Rays, where he struck out like 13 and went 8 innings and then lost still somehow. And then that stat popped up as I was watching the game, and I was like, holy shit, that poor guy.
I always feel bad for because I think he's just a lights out pitcher and just wrong spot.
Wrong. I mean, he's creeping that up. He just moves up that list every day of top right-handers, and now I honestly think he's probably in the top 15. That's pushing it. I'd have to write my list down, but thinking about it, it's hard to pick 15 right-handers better.
Well, I know preseason he was like my 4th player. I think when I took top 5 players we did, I had him 4. So the other big news again is COVID-19. We basically have 2 games that got postponed.
It's scary.
Yeah, we've got basically 2 games here. The Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers both get postponed to their bye weeks or whatnot. And then it's just a couple weeks out though, right?
No, the Chiefs Titans or Chiefs Patriots are playing.
No, not Chiefs Patriots. The Titans Steelers.
Oh yeah, Titans Steelers. You said both, and so I thought you meant like both games were moving. Yeah, the Chiefs Titans Chiefs Patriots is being played on Tuesday. That's an all go now.
Is it Tuesday? It's not tonight.
Oh no, it is tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tonight. Yeah, and that's an all go. So
and that boggled my mind. So the Titans and the Steelers, they get pushed out weeks, but the Patriots is pushed out 1 day.
Well, because they only had 1 player test at this point, and then everyone has since tested negative. So they can essentially, like we talked about earlier, I mean, it sucks that it's your quarterback, your starting quarterback of all players, but, you got to treat it like an injury at this point, and, he's out, until he gets 2 negative tests or whatever their quarantine is. Meanwhile, the Titans, I think they're up to 16 total people in that building have been tested positive. So
yeah, they're all going to the same strip club to get chicken wings. Right?
Well, I think it's like 8 players and 8 personnel total. So, but regardless, I mean they've got a lot of cases. Meanwhile, the Chiefs also have retested everyone and only still have everyone else was negative. So it's only been 1 and 1, but 1 was a practice squad player for the Chiefs and 1 was the starting quarterback for the Patriots.
Well, see, and it worried me because obviously the first game got postponed, and then when it came out that Cam Newton had tested positive, I thought, here goes the whole season. Like the whole season just done.
I went into a pure panic. My heart almost exploded. I thought, oh my God, now here come 3, 4. Because if you have to postpone 5 or 6 team and games, because then 5 games is now 10 teams, which then that's unfeasible to do. Really, you can't really do that. So I feel like then they would have had to question canceling the season, and I mean, God, that was so scary.
Yeah, but fortunately, it worked out. We'll see the Patriots tonight. I was hoping for Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, but we got Brian Hoyer.
I mean, actually, one of our fellow guys, I think it was Soup Boss, made an interesting fact. Brian Hoyer's had 3 stints with the Patriots, played numerous games, never started. This will be his first start.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, for the Patriots. For the Patriots, his first start.
Hopefully he rolls an ankle first play, and then we can just get Stidham in there.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Stidham too, but I did say I think he needs another year to mature and develop, and I still will stand by that. But I do agree. I mean, the fact that he can't beat out Brian Hoyer for a start in injury week is a little disappointing, I think.
Well, that's my thing. Yeah, I think he needs the other year, but I also feel like if your starter's down, what a perfect opportunity to get some reps, in the game.
I mean, do we know, did he just not beat out Brian Hoyer, or was it just a matter of we're going with Brian because we're going with Brian? Like, I don't know. Like,
I think he didn't beat him out.
He didn't play enough.
Yeah, I'd heard a rumor, don't know how true it is. I say heard it from nobody who has any sort of knowledge. But I heard it from somebody that said that, Brian Hoyer didn't really take the whole offseason seriously. So, like, while Cam was getting with guys and working out, and I think Hoyer was at some of those workouts and stuff like that, like, Stidham was out trying to find a new house, and he just didn't really – he wasn't putting in the work. And I guess Belichick was kind of like, all right, well, I guess you're not serious about winning the starting job then.
Well, that's unfortunate because I actually agree with kind of Belichick's assessment there. I mean, I'd like my quarterback to be in there in the offseason and things like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. Young guys got to learn, man. It's as important to be there, off the field as it is there on the field.
Some NBA news. We have Doc Rivers is out. Or no, he's in as the 70s. He was out, now he's back in.
He's out as the Clippers, in as the Sixers. Can keep the same color scheme. He's good. Yeah,
76ers head coach. Now, here's the thing that I thought was interesting. So I was writing down some stats because I'm not a huge Doc Rivers fan. I know you said you're not a huge Doc Rivers fan either. But here's a team, the 76ers, who have a winning percentage this year of .589, who won 50 games the last 2 years, 51 and 52 the last 2 years. Doc Rivers averages 50 wins per season with a .580 winning percentage. So basically, they got a coach in who does what they already do. So they didn't improve.
Yeah, and I don't think they really did improve in any way either from their previous coach to this one. I don't really love Doc. I don't think he offers, you know what I mean? His resume is so rocky, and I don't know. I just hate it. He's not a guy that I think is going to put you over the top, and that's what the Sixers need, and Doc is not that.
Now, what do you think happens with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid? I mean, are they going in a different direction? And
I think they need to move one of them. I've stated that I'd move one. I'd probably move from Joel just because I think he can get you the bigger return at this point. But I don't know what you would get and who would you move him to or anything like that.
So I'd seen one thing proposed that said, how about Ben Simmons to the Timberwolves for the number 1 overall pick?
I'd need more.
More than the 1 pick?
Oh, yeah.
See, I think if I was the Timberwolves, I would need more than just Ben Simmons. I would need a pick swap.
See, I don't think so. I think Ben Simmons is very – I mean, he's 22, you know what I mean, 23 years old. He's still, I think, an elite defender and an elite distributor and an elite inside scorer. He just can't shoot the ball, which I understand is important in the NBA. But shit, Rajon Rondo found a role. You know what I mean? So
he's been shooting during the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, but he wasn't during his whole career. You know what I mean? And I mean, 10 years ago, Rajon Rondo had a role and was great at it. And I understand, Ben Simmons would have to be more than that to warrant the number 1 overall pick. But I think he has been. The guy's a walking triple double, and he can lock down 2 or 3 positions. So I think he holds his value. I honestly would, personally, I'd want more because I don't think the replacement, I don't think whoever you're getting at 1 is going to give you more than that. So I'd move Joel Embiid for 1, and I don't know what Minnesota has really on their roster, to be honest with you. So
nothing you'd want to give up if you're trying to build a winner.
Yeah. So, and so I don't think that would work, but maybe Golden State does it for Joel. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Obviously, a potential trade partner if we're looking at Ben Simmons, we have Buddy Hield is not returning calls to Luke Walton or text. And recently, I guess they pointed out he liked the Doc Rivers to the 76ers tweet. So one of the things thrown out there was how about a Buddy Hield for Ben Simmons type of trade? And when I was looking up their stats, Buddy Hield is actually he averages more points per game. He averages almost 20 points per game versus Simmons 16. The thing that Simmons has going for you, like you said, walking triple double, he averages 8 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 8 assists a game. But Buddy Hield obviously is a 42% 3-point shooter versus a guy who can't shoot. So if you want a point guard, would you rather have Buddy Hield or Ben Simmons?
Well, Buddy Hield is a pure shooting guard. So, I mean, I don't know if I would just kind of view him as that. But, I mean, I think I'd rather have a guy like Buddy Hield on my team than Ben Simmons, if I'm being honest, especially in this day and age. But then I don't think Buddy Hield is your number 1 true pure scorer. So, I'd want more than just Buddy Hield back for Ben Simmons.
See, I'm a huge Buddy Hield fan, and it was kind of like I talked about that Oklahoma thing where you had Baker Mayfield to Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murray to Jalen Hurts, and then with Oklahoma basketball, you had Buddy Hield went right into Trae Young. So.
Yeah, and which was pretty incredible to watch. But yeah.
Speaking of coaching searches, we have the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Pelicans all need a coach. Obviously, the names thrown out there, Mark Jackson, his name keeps coming up. Tyronn Lue, his name keeps coming up. I read a thing saying D'Antoni to the Pelicans maybe, which I guess. Van Gundy is another one, Jeff Van Gundy. I don't know. I guess there's no real sexy names out there, but I'm thinking if you are the LA Clippers, you cannot swing and miss. Like, you have to hit on your coaching hire.
Agreed. I mean, you can't afford to ruin having two essentially top 15 NBA players on your roster and then depth beyond that. I mean, you have great depth.
All right, so Sully froze up for a second here. He'll be right back. Talking about obviously the coaching searches and the Clippers and what these teams will do, the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Pelicans. I think the Clippers need to make a splash. My question for you is, so obviously I talked about Mark Jackson. I know it's a name that always comes up because what he did in Golden State, but I'm not a huge Mark Jackson fan personally. Tyronn Lue, I think, is way overrated, but he always gets interviews for these positions. I mean, if I'm putting you in charge of the Clippers, you're Steve Ballmer, right? I mean, who do you want as a head coach? Who are you going out and getting?
Like I said, I think it was last week, I said I think D'Antoni's a decent little hire there. They already have a defensive mindset. Every player on their team is, I think, like a defensive-minded player. Montrezl Harrell, not every player. Montrezl Harrell is a very good defensive player. Paul George can lock you down defensively. Kawhi Leonard is a very good defensive player. Patrick Beverley is obviously a good defensive player. All these guys play great defense, and I mean, you put an offensive guy with them, and I think it just takes that team over the top.
All Access Sports. Hey, what's up? So our new webpage, by the way, our new page on Facebook is All Access Sports.
The All ACCS network, right?
Yeah, All ACCS network, yeah, is right there. And definitely tune them in. And then, of course, the big news, most recent news I have here, Bill O'Brien is out as the Texans head coach. Romeo Crennel is going to take over as the interim head coach. I mean, we talked about this last week. We talked about it the week before. Firing a coach after week 4, mid-season, I just think it causes too many issues. I understand they're 0-4, and it's like, what do we do? Do we just go the whole season like this? But is Romeo Crennel really going to turn that franchise around? I think this team is destined for a 4-12 season.
Well, I mean, I just think that he had to go at this point. He was in charge at so many levels. He was the offensive coordinator, the head coach, the GM, and they were all failing at all 3 levels. Excuse me. And, Field Yates obviously posted the tweet today where they're the highest payroll team. They don't have a first or second round pick next year, and they're 0-4. It's like, man, that's just as bad as it gets if you're an NFL franchise. Yeah,
I mean, they got nothing back for DeAndre Hopkins. They traded away their first round pick and their second round pick to the Dolphins for, was it Laramie Tunsil?
Yeah.
And so
he's actually playing very well. That's probably one of the lone bright spots.
But it's still, you're going to go, like I said, 4-12 this year. You're probably going to get the 6th pick or 5th pick, and you're not going to get it. It's going to go to Miami, who could end up with 2 top 5 picks.
They're definitely going to get 2 top 10, it looks like, which even in itself would be insane, especially in this draft where there's, I think, like 3 or 4 or 5 like elite players. So,
well, and there's like 3 or 4 potentially elite quarterbacks in this draft. It seems like a very quarterback-heavy draft.
It is,
but they just took Tua. You know what I mean? With the 3rd overall.
Yeah,
pick.
but there's like Penei Sewell is. I'm telling you, he's the best offensive lineman I've ever graded. Now, granted, I wasn't grading Orlando Pace. Bryant McKinney was literally like 2 years before I started grading guys, but nonetheless, Penei Sewell's essentially a perfect tackle prospect, and I'd take him gladly at 2-1 if I didn't have a needed quarterback.
All right. So I was thinking if I'm Miami, because Miami did a ton of wheeling and dealing to get all these first-round picks the last couple of years, and I'm thinking if they do end up with 1, I would not take Sewell only because, again, Trevor Lawrence is there. A lot of teams are going to want him, and you can trade that first pick down to, let's say, 5, 6, 7, and get back to more first-round picks, like what they've been doing, getting more load up on first-round picks.
I mean, to be fair, if they're at 1, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence, and I'll find a place for Tua because Tua doesn't even compare to Trevor Lawrence. No, so I'll figure that out. But more so, Penne's the guy that like would genuinely affect your team, I think, and I think would make it great. So while I agree, like I don't know how far I'd move down, but I do agree getting capital is always a good thing.
Moving out of the football, we now have the Lakers lose. I mean, we knew they were going to lose one. We thought it would be the first one, but basically they lose 115-104. This game, they just got outplayed the entire game. There was no stretch of that game where I thought the Lakers were the better team. They just completely outplayed. True
statement. And Jimmy Butler, tip my hat to him. The guy played it out of his mind. He went 14-20 from the field, I believe. Like, I mean, he just played like a monster. He played like a man possessed, and good for them. They won a game. I don't really expect much to change. I don't understand why people, when they win, I don't get why they can't win humbly against LeBron. They got to showboat and do things like that and snarl, and all that makes LeBron do is get really mad. So good luck.
Yeah, the snarl was dumb from one of the dumber players in the league, in my opinion, who I can't stand this person, and this just made it even more. Just like LeBron keeps doing things to pile on hating him. Like, I hated Tyler Hero going into this game, and just the stupid snarl because he got a layup and an and one. Like, yeah, I'm tough. But to be fair, LeBron James does that a lot, where he makes the angry face after he gets a dunk or something.
LeBron's earned it. He's won 6 or played for 4 NBA champions. Tyler Hero's 20 and done nothing.
But I'm just saying, like, you talk about teams that want to showboat against them because he showboats against other teams. You don't earn the right to solo showboat. It's like, you get what you get. It's a two-way street.
I think LeBron has earned his right to do pretty much anything he wants. The day Tyler Hero leads the league in scoring, wins an MVP, and gets a title and shit like that, then snarl, do these things. But like, bro, I mean, even if it's like if it's a game winner, snarl and do those things. But I don't know. I hate that shit. Like when it from an unproven guy.
Well, see, I hate it from even proven guys. I just don't like it in general. I did get into an argument. Yeah, I did get into an argument today with somebody about Tyler Hero. Imagine that. And basically, what I thought was funny is I said, here's a guy.
I've seen this.
Averaged 13 points per game. And somebody was like, how many points a game did you average in the finals this year? I bet you couldn't even score 20 in a men's rec league or something like that. And I'd said, if the biggest thing that Tyler Hero has going for him is that he's better than a rec league player, he's in trouble. So.
Yeah. Mind you, I could easily drop 20 in a men's league. I'm glad you had to hit him with that one too.
Yeah. Well, I said I averaged 20 when I was 20 years old. That's what I was doing. I was like, but I'm not saying I'm as good as Tyler Hero. He's way better than me.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Is that where really we're at? We can't criticize professional athletes unless we're better than them?
Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. I mean, I hate when people say that, like, bro, you could never do that shit. It's like, yeah, no fucking duh, but either can he, clearly. So he can't average 20 either, but he's trying to do it. I'm not. So what the fuck?
Yeah, just ridiculous. Major League Baseball playoffs. What do you think? Braves and the Marlins, right? Kicking things off here, I've got obviously the Braves. They beat Cincinnati 2-0. Marlins beat the Cubs 2-0, who managed to put together 1 run in 2 games. Looking at what the Marlins did, though, the Marlins used 4 pitchers in Game 1 and 5 pitchers in Game 2, and nobody really put any miles on. So I feel like their pitching staff, because Fried pitched 7 innings, and so like Game 2 we had 5 innings from their starter. But I just feel like the Marlins are going in with a more refreshed pitching staff against the Braves.
I mean, that's kind of what Miami's done, throughout the season a little, was kind of had a platoon with it. And, the Braves have actual studs that they can go out there and throw. So, I mean, I think that's the real difference. Sixto Sanchez's ERA is like 12. So, when you get 2 good innings out of him, you bless your Lord and you get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, meanwhile, Max Fried is playing incredible baseball, and Ian Anderson, the rookie, pitched incredible, in his start. So I think the Braves, obviously are the favorite. They've got a lineup that's going to be really tough for Miami to contain, but Miami's playing great baseball and they're hot, and I think it's going to be a good series. I think the issue is now it's 7 and not 5, and so Miami's not going to be able to hold on for that long.
Well, I think we would be remiss if we didn't point out the fact that Miami's never lost a playoff series in their history.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a sick stat.
Yeah, they're undefeated in the playoffs.
That's awesome.
So 2 World Series.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's wild. I didn't know that. Want to give a big shout out to the watch party, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, watch party. The next game we have on the docket here, we've got the Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. Again, both these teams the Padres went 2-1, so that one went all 3 games. And then the Dodgers, of course, 2-0. Clayton Kershaw, 13 strikeouts, most strikeouts by a Dodgers pitcher in the playoffs since Sandy Koufax. So remember, everyone was talking about, Kershaw doesn't have it in the playoffs. He's a playoff dud. I know it's only one game, but I would really love to see Kershaw have a really good playoff.
I mean, I would too. I love Clayton Kershaw. I'm a huge fan. I have him very high on my all-time list, if I'm being fair. So I would love to see him get this behind him and do well. At the same time, I really want to see San Diego win, just because I'm afraid, as a Rays fan, I don't want to face LA. I'm much more afraid of them than I am of San Diego.
Although San Diego's offense, we got 11-9, 4-0, 7-4. They were scoring runs. Tatis ended up with 6 RBIs in the series.
Oh, yeah. They're equally as dangerous. Their pitching staff I'm a lot less afraid of is really the only reason. But, yeah, that lineup is incredibly, incredibly dangerous.
Your favorite series, of course, is the Houston Astros and the Oakland A's. We got I know we're all rooting for the Astros to pull this one out. They did win 2-0 against the Twins, 4-1, 3-1. And then, of course, the A's beat the White Sox 2-1, 5-3. Oh, yeah, 5-3, 6-4. I don't know. I think the Astros are the better team. I really do. I think that's the team that's going to win the series.
I mean, they're up 9-5 right now in the bottom of the 8th. It looks like they're going to take game 1. It honestly looks like they're going to take this series. I agree. I think they're the better team. Unfortunately, all their players were not performing very well. I sent you a stat earlier in the year that showed their batting averages at the time, and they were all atrocious. But the playoffs is a different beast. You can get hot in a certain amount of time, and then it doesn't matter if you hit 214 for the year, if you hit 320 in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Well, that's how Kung Fu Panda got paid.
Exactly.
And then, of course, we've got the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. This one should be a really good series. I would think the Yankees obviously pummeled Cleveland. They scored 22 runs in the 2 games that they beat them. The Rays also 11-3. They outscored in their 2 games. So the Rays pitching staff seems to be looking pretty good, much better than the Yankees. I know you pointed out Garrett Cole had a great game. And then, of course, they gave up, 9 runs in the 10-9 win. So they didn't look so good there. The Rays, I think, might have the better pitching staff, but I just feel like that Yankees lineup is just so much power in that lineup.
I mean, they do have a ton of power, but, I really don't think this is going to be a close series at all, if I'm being honest. I think we touch up Garrett Cole, too, when we face him tonight. I think we're going to take this game 1. And if we take game 1, I think it'll be kind of smooth sailing. I think we'll finish it in 5, if I'm being honest. All
right, so that's pretty. So I'll set up a Rays Astros. I know you're really going to be psyched for that one.
I will. If we lose to the Astros, I'm going to flip tables.
All right. So that leads us to the NFL. It is time to talk NFL football. But before I bring up the first little graphic here, obviously we got to talk about how we did in our bets. Not our bet. We didn't bet against each other.
Yeah, I honestly cannot remember it all. I need to start writing my shit down.
Well, I did not do well. I went 4-8-1 against the spread.
Means I did great because I picked against you a lot.
You went 7-5-1 against.
Man, that's back-to-back winning weeks. Let's go.
Yeah. Over under. I went 7-6. You went 11-2.
Let's go.
11-2 over under. So if you were betting with Sully over under this past week, you made some serious bank.
You made some dough. Let's ride it.
And so the first game we have is the Thursday night game, which we talked about, which was the Broncos 37-28 over the Jets. I'm not going to lie. That's a really high-scoring game. I thought that was going to be a much lower-scoring game with how crappy those two offenses are. But they just piled up the points. Obviously, Brett Rippon got the start. He goes 19 of 31, 242 yards. But really it was, Gordon, Melvin Gordon, right? 23 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. I really liked the signing when they signed Gordon, and they got him for a bargain, like $4 million or $5 million 1-year deal or something like that. And there was talk he's going to split with Lindsey. I know Lindsey got hurt, but I feel like that was never going to be the plan. He is the full-time starting running back there.
Well, when they say split, I mean, let's say like Lindsey was still going to get 10 to 12 to 15 touches a game, I think. I'd say 10 to 15 touches a game. And, that's essentially splitting. I think that Melvin would have gotten his 20 to 25 still every game. I think he was definitely their main back, their workhorse who they wanted. And now this just gives him the ability to do more. I mean, he had I think it was a 43-yarder with 2 minutes left. But, I mean, he's running the ball well, and the Jets are just a dumpster fire.
Well, Sam Darnold, 23 of 42, so 19 incompletes. And let's see. So but he had no turnovers, right? So, right, he didn't throw an interception. But he also did throw a touchdown. He did run for a touchdown.
Nice one. Did you see it?
I didn't see the touchdown run, no.
It's like a 46-yarder. He was like, he was cooking. It was nice.
And we've talked about this. I like Darnold. I really do like his talent. I feel like he's being wasted there with the Jets. And we just talked about what do you do with the number one pick. And obviously you could take Trevor Lawrence here. And I talked to you about this off the air. I said, I wouldn't take Trevor Lawrence. Again, I know he's better than Darnold. I'm going to say that. But you're just taking a quarterback and putting him into the same crappy position, and he's not going to succeed. Like, you need to build that team before you can start with a quarterback. The quarterback's not going to do anything for you.
See, I understand that side of it, but also at the same time, a quarterback, because you got to think too, it's a new coach also. Adam Gase is out. Adam Gase is gone. He's not going to be there. So it's a new quarterback, or it's a new coach also. It's probably going to be a whole new regime, a new offense, all kinds of these things. And the example I liken it to is Josh Rosen and Kyler Murray. Josh Rosen was in there, the year before as a first-round pick. The very next year, Kyler Murray's there at number one and is a franchise-changing player. And you take him, and then you figure out what to do with Josh Rosen. Who gives a crap at that point? Because Kyler Murray can effectively change your franchise. And Trevor Lawrence can do that, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I mean, look at the one stat I did like from the Jets is Pierre Desir gets 7 tackles, 2 interceptions. I am a huge Pierre Desir fan. I know a lot of people probably don't even know who he is, but I used to take him in Madden every year. I would trade for him because he had like a 93 speed. He's fast, and he's like 6'2", 6'3", so he's one of those really long cornerbacks. And I just favor those types, like the Sherman-type corners.
Yeah, buddy.
Next game we have here is the the Colts and the Bears. The Bears, who used to be undefeated and are no more, 19-11. So much for Nick Foles carrying this team to glory in the promised land. It is going to be a long season for that Bears team. I think that, much to Brandon's chagrin, I think we will see Trubisky replace Foles at some point, and it may even go back again the other way because they're just so bad.
I agree 100%. There was a meme that was like, Nick Foles, and it was like this super pretty girl, and then when he's off the bench, and then Nick Foles when he's a starter, and it's like an ugly ass broad in a wig, and it's for some reason he just looked much worse. But I said this at the beginning of the year. These are the games the Colts are going to win. 19-11, 20-13 games that are just sloppy wins that nobody talks a lot about, but they pick up a lot of them up. So, I mean, I think the Colts are a solid ball club, but still, yeah, the Bears are not good.
Well, looking at the total yards between the teams, 289 to 269. Talk about a boring game. There's just no offense.
That had to have been a terrible watch.
I bet Bill Belichick loved it because he got to see the punter a lot. He's like, the punter's coming back out.
Yeah, here we go.
I did have a note here because we talked about Darius Leonard being just a tackle machine. I mean, the guy gets nothing but tackles. He had 1 tackle in the game.
What?
1 tackle. Yeah.
That can't be. He had to have gotten hurt. Something.
Something. I don't know. But I know Roquan Smith had 11 tackles. He's a guy. I really like him.
He's really good.
Next game we got here, we have the Saints and the Lions, 35-29, another high-scoring game. The Saints improved to 2-2, I think still below their expectations where they'd like to be at this point. Drew Brees really doesn't look great. I mean, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Kamara looks unbelievable again. He's just ridiculous. And then we have, Stafford. I mean, Stafford threw 3 touchdowns and had an interception. So, I mean, he only had 200 yards passing, but I don't know. I like Stafford. It's just one of those situations where it seems like no matter how good he plays, he's going to lose.
Yeah, he is a little snake bitten, I think, unfortunately. It just seems like they can never put it together and get it right. And then on the other side of the coin, Drew Brees just looked bad, You know, he still looks bad without Michael Thomas. I think once he comes back, that offense in general will look different. But I mean, to be fair and give them a lot of credit, they were down 14-0 early and came back to win this game. So, you know, I think the Lions are just worse than we thought they were going to be. You know, Matt Patricia is, you know, not a good coach. And again, I think we fully expect him to be out as well.
So they are 1-3 so far for the year. So we'll see where they end up draft wise. That's a team I think that if I'm the Lions, I would love to get one of those top 2 picks. Lawrence or Fields would be a great fit there because I think that they do have pieces kind of around them, young pieces like, you know, young running back, receivers. I like Kenny Galladay, I really do.
I love Kenny Galladay. Love Kenny Galladay.
But it's Detroit, so it seems like maybe nothing's ever going to happen there.
And T.J. Hawkinson is a real stud too, a tight end. So.
Next game we got is, of course, hit the wrong button.
Boop, boop, boop.
There we go. The Panthers 31-21 over the Cardinals. This one surprised me. It's
shocked.
2 bad games in a row for Kyler Murray, who only had 133 yards passing. I mean, he completed 24 passes, 24 of 31. He only had 7 incompletes, and 7 catches for DeAndre Hopkins for 41 yards. So it just seems like a lot of short passes. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, so it's crazy. 133 yards. 24 of 31, only 3 touchdowns, but only 133 yards passing. 6 carries for 78 yards. Just a bad game for him. Teddy Bridgewater looked pretty good. 2 touchdowns, 1 incomplete. 6 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. But yeah, overall, I mean, looking at this game, I don't understand the whole Kyler Murray stat line. I don't understand the 133.
He was under pressure a lot. You know, the offensive line is not playing well there in Arizona. So they're getting a lot of quick balls out and doing a lot of, you know, it was a lot of 3 and outs on quick throws and it just wasn't working. And then Kenyon Drake got hurt also. So, you know, that doesn't help, you know, at all. So that team's just going to be hurting for a little while, I think. Another team that I think we were just a year ahead on, I don't think they're quite that as good as we predicted them to be, and I think they'll be better next year.
See, I'm not a big Kenyon Drake fan either. Like, he's kind of like my Doc Rivers. I mean, he's all right. I mean, I think he was a 2nd-round pick, and I think that was for a reason. I mean, he is a decent kind of receiving back, but almost like a James White, right? Like, he's a great receiving back, but you don't want him as your full-time back, you know? And I think that how good would this Cardinals team be if they could pick up like a Travis Etienne? Oh, yeah,
they'd be – I mean, any time you can pick up a Travis Etienne on any team, you're really stoked. That'd be a fantastic grab. I mean, how great wouldn't Clyde Edwards-Helaire be on this team? You know what I mean? He'd fit right in. You know, he'd be perfect. So, yeah.
No other real notes. It's funny. We're kind of breezing through the football. We have a lot of time to just chat at the end of the show here. The Bengals win 33-25. Way to go, Joe Burrow, who gets his first career win. He throws for 300 yards. It's the 3rd week in a row he's done that. The Jaguars fall to 1-3, and we thought they looked really good.
Right?
The 3 consecutive 300-yard games? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw the smoking a cigar meme where he was doing that.
I know that the Jaguars obviously came out 1-0, and then even when they lost that 2nd week, it was like, oh, they still look good, though. And then it's like, ugh, they look really horrible. I mean, although, again, Gardner Minshew, 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Not horrible, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing fantasy, when DJ Shark is playing, Gardner Minshew's a quality start. You know, Joe Mixon blew up this game and just absolutely dominated. I think he had damn near 190 total yards and, you know, 3 touchdowns or some shit. He played fantastic. And then Joe Burrow, you know, I think is just coming into his own. I think he's figuring out this offense, figuring out NFL defenses. He had some throws that were so incredibly accurate. It's just insane to watch him play. Him and Tyler Boyd look like they're developing a really good connection. I love the Bengals and their future.
See, the other stat I wrote down is that your buddy T. Higgins had another good game, 4 catches, 77 yards.
He did. He had a solid game. You know, he's not really separating if you watch the plays. He's making good contested catches, and he's got a lot of yak, so that's helping him a lot.
Well, to me, and I don't know if we talked about this in our draft show, I like T. Higgins. I don't think he's a burner. He's not Randy Moss, right? He's not going to take the top off. But he reminds me more of like a Larry Fitzgerald, right? He's got good hands. He's big, so he gets kind of like that position where he gets the ball. I mean, I don't know. I like those types of receivers. You got to have some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, but he's like 6'5", like 136 pounds. Like he needs to swell up.
Now, how about a guy who I picked up a couple weeks ago on my fantasy team, Laviska Shenault, ended up with 5 receptions, 86 yards. See, he's been running the ball a lot, like 5-6 carries a game.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the role he was going to get, just because you want to give this guy touches in any way you can. He's explosive. He's powerful. He can get the job done. I love Laviska. He had a lot of injury concerns coming in, and he had that abdominal tear that prevented him from competing at the combine. So I think that dropped him a little. But man, he's a rare talent. That's for sure.
Now, this was a fun game.
Quick, Jesse likes to call us out on everything, so let's make sure we call him out on his Jacksonville Jaguars being a great team. So
he had said something about how he had picked. I don't know if he messaged me or if he tagged me in something about how he had picked the the Texans. He said, "Oh, the Texans."
The Texans were going to be bad, and Carson Wentz was going to be bad, and you and Daniel Sullivan laughed at me, and it's like, well, sweet. You also said the Jags were going to be good.
All right, yes, right back in your face.
Yeah, we make 32 predictions. We're not going to be right on all of them.
49-38, the Browns and the Cowboys. I was watching this game, and the Browns were up by a lot, and it's just the Cowboys would score, get the ball back, score. I was like, man, if they're just going to be the cardiac kids all year, just going to keep coming back and winning these games from behind. Dak Prescott, 502 yards, first quarterback in history with 3 consecutive 450-yard plus passing games, which I will say this. So Soup Boss, and he also had, I think, 5 touchdowns and an interception. Soup Boss had commented something to the effect of, he's like, yeah, against a prevent defense. And I messaged you in the first quarter. He had 160 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. So it wasn't against a prevent defense.
No, I don't like that stat. Yes, they're behind, but that doesn't mean people are playing prevent defenses. Nobody does that anymore. He's making, and they don't really dink and dunk the ball either. They huck that tater around the football field. So, I mean, I don't agree with that comment at all. But I do think that there's something to, like, not giving him this money. I mean, how can you not win these games? It just baffles me. I understand he's not playing defense.
So when you give up 49 points.
Yeah, but still, it's like, then score 50. It's the Browns, bro. Like, score 50. Like, I don't, like, truthfully, like, I don't understand it.
Because Chubb got hurt.
Yeah, Chubb got hurt, but Kareem Hunt is a very, very good, probably
he was out too.
In the league. Nah, Kareem Hunt balled. I have Kareem.
No,
Hunt.
it was the Ernest Johnson had 13 carries.
Yeah, they were doing. He got 9 carries, but Kareem Hunt had just as he had how many carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. Ernest just ended up being the leading back, but they were using multiple, but Kareem Hunt was still the backup and got 2 touchdowns and played incredibly well also, and the running game just worked. But Dallas's defense is atrocious. It's very, very bad.
Well, and that's my thing. That's why I say you should pay Dak, or he's going to get paid somewhere. Because listen, when you play against a Browns team, and Odell Beckham gets a rushing touchdown, and Jarvis Landry throws a touchdown, against your defense, it's kind of like, hey, I just threw 4 touchdowns. Like, I threw for 500 yards, and I scored 38 points, and we still lost. So I think if you put him on a team, like, can you imagine him with, like, New England's defense? I mean, dude, it'd be sick.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be throwing for 500 yards. But, yes, I mean, again, I think it's a little bit of both. He's making these plays, but he's not making them in certain situations, and he still is having turnovers and things like that. So, I mean, I can't blame it on him. Obviously, the defense is the issue. You're not going to win a ton of games. You give up 49 points. I will 100% agree with that. But, I mean, if you want to get paid as the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, you've got to win. You've got to beat the Browns regardless. Like, nobody was saying Patrick Mahomes had a good defense, and he was still putting up 50 points and beating guys. So that's just kind of my take on it. I agree he's a great player and is going to get paid. But if you're talking you want $45 million a year, you got to beat the Browns.
Yeah, I guess. Again, I think like you said, we can say it back and forth as much as we want. He can't play defense, and all you can do is try to outscore the other team as best you can. And when you throw for 4 touchdowns, like if he had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, I'd say, all right, yeah, he really did do his job. But he threw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, yes, he did. He also threw for an interception that, if he doesn't throw, does it change the the work of the game and things like. Again, I'm very nitpicking, but you need to nitpick when you're asking for number one quarterback money. Like, pay him as a top 10 player, I'm fine with it. Pay him as a top 5 guy, I'm fine with that. But when you're asking for number one quarterback money, I'm going to nitpick and say, well, you didn't beat the Browns. I don't care if we gave up 49. You didn't beat them. Like, what? And you want $50 million a year?
It's a weird dynamic because I don't really count wins and losses a whole lot in the NFL because of how many factors there are to it. I mean, Barry Sanders never won a Super Bowl, but how many running backs are better than him?
I think quarterbacks are judged a little differently. In regards to wins, I agree, but I try not to factor that in. Also, I think quarterbacks are judged a little differently.
The Vikings 31-23. Here's that Texans game we were talking about. Just beat the Texans in pretty much every aspect going through here. Deshaun Watson didn't throw any interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 300 yards passing, but just wasn't enough because Kirk Cousins also had a touchdown. Well, Kirk Cousins didn't have a really great game. You know what it was? It was Cook. Cook killed him.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
27 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Couldn't stop the run.
Shocker, Houston. Defense. It's the key to life, folks. Play good defense. And it's a shame because Deshaun Watson's being a little wasted. Brandon Cooks is a no-show for them. David Johnson isn't playing well. Shocker. But Justin Jefferson, is playing incredibly well for Minnesota. Had back-to-back really good weeks now. Dalvin Cook has found his stride. Hopefully he can stay healthy this whole year and actually compete. That'd be nice. And I'd honestly love to see Minnesota do a little decent and then lose Kirk Cousins and actually get a decent quarterback in there.
Well, let me put this one to you. So the Texans are 0-4. Deshaun Watson got hugely paid in the offseason. Why is he better than Dak Prescott? When statistically he does nothing better.
He does. He's statistically he's won more, and he's actually led his team to a division title and to the playoffs, whereas Dak has not, and things like that. This year, I don't have much of an argument, but he was paid based off already doing it more so than based off the potential of doing it.
Well, so you're saying that you would rather pay $40 million to a guy who throws for 219 yards but has the game-winning drive than a guy who throws for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, but his defense allows 49 points.
Yes, because the key word in there was game-winning drive.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather have the more talented player, and I'd say, boy, we're going to win a lot of games by blowouts because I got this guy. But you're not,
because you just lost a game because you gave up 49. I mean, in the scenario you gave me, your quarterback lost. You're in your own scenario, you set up a losing situation. But no, I mean, yes, essentially, I think Deshaun Watson's more of a winner than Dak Prescott. If Deshaun Watson's in Dak Prescott's situation, I know we hate this if game. They don't lose these games to the Browns 100%. Now he's not throwing for 500 yards. But they don't lose these games.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't see him as the winner, quote unquote winner. I just
he's won everywhere, so I don't know how you don't.
I don't know because he just watching him play and watching Dak play, and I've watched them both play a couple of times. I mean, I understand the outcome of the game and the final score is what we're saying, but if I'm taking that away. All right, just for the time being, I'm taking that away.
Like that's the point of the game. So
I understand that winning the game is the point of the game. I'm just saying, if I take that one thing and let's look at the rest, right? Okay. The rest that's in the box.
Yes.
The eye test, Dak Prescott passes the eye test over Deshaun Watson, he's faster. I think he's got a better arm. I think he's more accurate. And statistically would prove that because he has a higher completion percentage. He throws a better deep ball, which is statistically proven because he averages more yards per attempt than Deshaun Watson does. But I understand you're saying that the Cowboys have a deep – what's that?
For career or just this season? And also that's totally scheme-based. Like it's completion percentage for balls on base. And that's fine and everything. You take all of that, all right, and you put it into a box, and that box is this big. And then you take winning, and you put it into a box, and that box is this fucking big. I'm sorry for my language. I apologize. And that box is this big, because that's what matters. And then, yes, these things are nice, but they don't win football games. This one does.
And I understand the whole winner thing. I do understand that. But I don't see Tom Brady when I see Deshaun Watson. And I'm not saying I see him and Dak Prescott either. But I'm just saying that between the two of them, I would rather have Dak Prescott. That's just me.
I get you. I mean, you know, if he doesn't throw for 450 straight yards this year, we're not having this conversation. I think you're kind of a prisoner of the moment right now.
He had a great year last year. He had more passing yards than anybody, didn't he? Was he like number one?
Yes, but again, but he didn't win a ton. But it's a huge thing.
So it's not a prisoner of the moment. He averages a lot of passing yards.
Like now, I got to bring this up because now you didn't tell me we're getting a Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott argument. I didn't know we were getting into this because I'm a huge Deshaun Watson guy. I'll back him till the day I die. I think he's incredible. So yeah, there's no way he completes the ball more than a 67% clip or a 68% clip last year. I got to see this. I wish you would have told us we were going to do this.
All right, yeah, because it's definitely a lot of dead air here.
Because you're killing me now at this point.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing it until you poo-pooed all over Dak in our last segment, and then I was like, all right, now I'm going to bring up your guy.
Yeah, he doesn't. You're talking about 1 year. All right, so yes, this year Dak Prescott completes more balls. Every other year of his career, Deshaun Watson completes more balls. Yes, this year Dak Prescott has more touchdowns. Every other year but last year, Deshaun Watson has scored more touchdowns. And thrown less interceptions. Dak Prescott is playing great football, and I won't take that away from him. I just think Deshaun Watson is a far superior player. There's a reason why one was the number one over a first-round pick and the other one was a fourth-round pick. Let me just say that.
I'm going to just say this. Dak Prescott, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero is your guy there. Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. You're nuts. You're nuts.
All right, so let's just get off of that one. We're going to actually get into an undebatable good quarterback here with Russell Wilson, who's having a phenomenal year going up against the Dolphins. And, 31-23, we knew they were going to win. I thought the Dolphins scored more than I thought they would. I really thought that was going to be a blowout game. But, of course, we talked about before the game that the Swiss cheese defense of the Seattle Seahawks. And maybe, see, now here's a case where you can make your point. Like, hey, their defense is crap. They're giving up a ton of points, but yet Russell Wilson's still finding a way to win those games, right? Oh, actually, it froze up for a second. So I will let you reply to that when you get back in here, because I feel like, again, that's making your point for you, because you talked about how, yes, the Cowboys gave up a ton of points, but, in this case, like you said, so does Seattle, and yet Russell Wilson still finds a way to win.
Exactly. Seattle and Russell Wilson is a top 5 paid quarterback and, one of the best in the league, if not the best, and therefore deserves it. And exactly, that's great. I'm glad you segue this right into it. But, it's truly the difference, because they didn't look great. They were down early. They had to come back and they had to win this football game. And, Russell Wilson is just so incredibly talented. God, he's so good.
I've come around. I was not a Russell Wilson fan. I want to say going back about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, everyone was making a big deal about Russell Wilson, and I didn't see it. And then over the past couple of years, every game I watch him play, I'm like, God damn, there's like nothing he can't do. Like, he's so good.
He's so good. It's insane, and he defies it because he's 5'11". He shouldn't be able to get these balls through these passing lanes. People don't understand. You're standing behind guys that are naturally 6'4". Then they put helmets and cleats on, so they're probably 6'6", 6'7". Everybody's got their hands up trying to make themselves as big as possible, and he's throwing dimes. I mean, the way he's able to drop the ball in the way he does is just brilliant to watch. He's got a lot of great weapons. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf are incredibly fun to watch. Chris Carson's a great running back. And again, they've got a shell of a terrible defense, and he somehow manages to win ball games.
Well, and talking about DK Metcalf, because I know this is a guy that you didn't like in the draft. He's a big, fast, kind of a workout warrior. He looked good in a T-shirt and shorts, right? Not a very strong route runner. I still think he's not a very strong route runner. But when you're that big and fast, I guess you don't really have to be.
People just still continue to let him run by them. And that's really what he's doing. That's how he's making all these big plays. He just runs right by people. And then once he stacks you, you're never getting around him. He's a monster. I mean, and then after the catch, he's incredible because he's TO. I mean, he's just a huge human being. And, he's very fast and very strong. I agree. He's not very polished. We talk about how he dogged Stephon Gilmore. Well, he really didn't. He had zero separation, and that's my argument against him is he doesn't get a ton of separation. He just makes great contested catches. So,
well, who I felt even at his absolute prime was never a great route runner is the guy that you have as the number one receiver of all time, and Randy Moss.
Agreed.
I mean, you can just take the top off the defense, just throw it deep, and he'll go up and get it.
Agreed. The one thing I think he did develop was a really good comeback later on, because he knew people were respecting his speed so much that they'd play so far off that I think he developed a really good comeback. So,
this game here is one that you have an interest in. The Bucs win 38-31 over the Chargers. A little bit of a barn burner there. But old man Brady, 5 touchdowns to an interception, 369 yards, 30 of 46. So, again, here's the situation. Again, another great one for your argument, right, which is where he basically has a Dak Prescott type game, almost 400 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. His team gives up 31 points. But here's a guy who I would 100% agree, Tom Brady's a winner. Like, this is a guy who's not going to lose.
Exactly. And again, I'm glad you're making my argument for me. I love it. But yeah, true. I mean, this one was a worrisome game. We were down early. Tom threw a pick 6, which, for some reason is just what happens in Tampa. We just have a sickness down here where you throw pick 6s. But we were able to battle back and win this game. Justin Herbert, bro, you keep playing like this, you're going to make me buy a Justin Herbert jersey and eat some words here, man, because I was your biggest hater, and you're playing incredibly well. You're playing some great football. 2 of your passes were, guys were bearing down. Vita Vea was in your cottage cheese when you threw that first one, bro. He was in your stuff, and you placed a dime in there, and it was a touchdown. So, I'm very impressed.
No, I can't root for Justin Herbert only because of his face. And I don't know if you've seen the TV show Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He looks like Steve.
Oh, 100%.
But with a lot more pimples.
Yep. 100%.
So I see his face. I'm like, ugh, it's such a punchable face. I can't stand it.
He looks like a Disney Channel star to me. It's wild, dude. He's just – I can't root for him anyway because I don't like him. But, Austin Eckler's out too now, so the Chargers are going to be in for it. He just hit the IR. I think they're going to be in a rough spot here.
Now, I thought the interesting stat in this game, so their wide receivers had 3 touchdowns. So Herbert threw for 3 touchdowns. And each one of those touchdown passes was to a guy who that was his only catch of the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it went. It was just like one guy got loose, broke our defense. Both of them, or 2 of the ones that I saw were on essentially all-out blitzes where the guy got over the top and we just didn't get there. And Herbert dropped back, and then threw one off his back foot that was just a dime. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I like his skill set. He's another of these guys, 6'5", 6'6", big arm, and he's mobile. He ran like a 4.69 at the combine. He can run. He doesn't seem to run a whole lot, though, right? He led the team in carries with 5. So
yeah, they're not trying to use him a whole lot to run, obviously. But yeah, he has the ability to. He can definitely get out there and scramble.
Let's see. We got from the Buccaneers and the Chargers, we go to the Washington football team losing 31-17 to the Ravens. Again, another foregone conclusion. Ravens improved to 3-1. Washington football team goes to 1-3. Again, Lamar Jackson had a Lamar Jackson game, a little less than 200 yards passing, but he also ran for a touchdown. One that killed me personally, Marquise Brown, who was one of my top wide receiver picks for the season, had 4 catches for 86 yards, but it was Andrews who caught both the touchdowns.
Yeah, Marquise Brown got tackled with the 1. It was rough to watch if you were a Marquise Brown fan. Antonio Gibson had a really good day if you're a Washington fan, though. And honestly, with no Chase Young, no Matt Ioannidis, it's going to be a rough little stretch for them. I don't think they actually played terribly well, all things considered. So I think they've got a lot to kind of just build on and look forward to. So
I'm starting to lose faith in Dwayne Haskins. This is a guy who I really liked coming out of college. 50 touchdown passes is coming out. Had a rough year last year, but I said, hey, rookie year, chalk up to just rookie learning the offense and whatnot. And then this year, even this game, he threw for 300 yards. He didn't throw an interception, but he also didn't throw a touchdown. So when I think of Dwayne Haskins being a top 5 pick, if you're a top 5 pick, you can't be a game manager. You just can't. And I think that's what he's kind of turned into, is like a game manager. Although it's a really bad team, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't believe in Dwayne Haskins. I never have. I'm not a fan of him. Again, now I'm very biased in this situation. If I have Patrick Mahomes, no, I'm not. But there's pretty much nobody other than the top 5 guys that I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence at that point. So, but if they get a top 1 or 2 pick, I think they take the move and move on from Dwayne Haskins.
For sure. In every one of these quarterbacks we're talking about moving on, whether it's Darnold or Haskins or any of these top picks who have a couple of years in the system and just haven't quite lived up to the potential, I salivate over going to New England.
No, I'm sure.
Because I think of just giving Josh McDaniels anybody with talent, and he's just going to – it's going to be like a light shining on him. This game here, we got the Rams and the Giants. What a crap game. 17-9. I think we both picked the under for this one because we said, we thought it was going to be like 40-0, but even then it wouldn't cover the spread. But the Rams just did not look good. 17 points against that Giants team. And, just looking over the stats here, actually, it's on my next page. The Rams, Goff had 200 yards passing, 25 of 32. So again, 32 pass attempts, 25 completions, only 200 yards. You averaged 4 yards per completion. Mm-hmm. What a boring ass game. Basically, your completions were just run plays.
Yeah, that's kind of their system. McVay kind of tries to get things like that and then tries to do shots over the top, but apparently that just didn't happen today. During that game. This is one game I couldn't even have tried to watch if I wanted to. I know Aaron Donald was bullying kids again out there. That's just what he does. My man's a monster. The highlight of the game was after when Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate fought. That was the best part, and then it started a whole brawl. So that was by far the best part of the game.
Which will lead me to, because it just popped into my head, a little segue into best defensive back wide receiver brawls of all time. I obviously think, Andre Rison, Deion Sanders is a fantastic one.
Andre Johnson,
Cortland Finnegan.
was a great one.
Yeah, I think he ripped his helmet off and he was like,
yeah, that one was fantastic.
That was a good one. I think of Aqib Talib grabbing the necklace off of Michael Crabtree. Yeah,
ripping Michael Crabtree's gold chain off. God, what a bitch move. But yeah, I guess Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate fought because Jalen Ramsey's was not hooking up. It was his baby mama is Golden Tate's sister. Okay. And they have 2 children together, and then they have ended the relationship, and I guess Golden Tate is not happy with that. And since they weren't married, he's not like giving his sister, I guess, any money. I don't know what the issue is. But so I guess they were drawn, and then so they ended up fighting.
The game after that, we have the Buffalo Bills improved to 4-0, beating the Raiders 30-23. And this was one of my horrible picks. I had them. I said, take the Raiders and take the money line. The Bills just crushed them. Josh Allen, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 115 yards. Although my guy Derek Carr, who I love, again, 32 of 44, 311, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. So another solid game for Derek Carr that just doesn't come away with a win.
Yeah, Josh Allen is just a stud. The guy's playing incredible football. He's really kind of ascended, I think, into that elite level at this point. And then they just shut down Josh Jacobs, and that I think effectively is what lost the game for the Raiders. They just couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball in situations they needed to. They were stopped on 4th down. Derek Carr played a great game, but he is the epitome of a game manager. Unfortunately, I think he's just a step above that, a step below a great, I don't want to call him a game manager because he's throwing for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he's also, I don't think, a guy that's going to win you football games. So I'm not really sure, but I think it's a great win for Buffalo. They got a murderer's row of a schedule coming up though. So
I can't wait to see the Patriots in Buffalo, but we'll see how the Patriots do against Kansas City tonight.
Yeah, the Buffalo's got Kansas City, the Patriots twice, Tennessee. I think they play another. They've got a rough schedule coming up.
The last game of the week, they had the Eagles and the 49ers. Another just crap game, 25-20 on this one here. Carson Wentz, 18 of 28, 193 yards, 1-1, rushing touchdown, and he just doesn't look good. I don't think he's had a good game all year. Since he got sacked 8 times in week 1, he just hasn't looked good.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, their offensive line is just rough. It's really bad. It's not playing well. I hate to use that as an excuse because he isn't playing well in general, but I mean, it's tough when you're running for your life. San Francisco, they were at their third quarterback. Nate Mullins was playing like Nate Mullins. So CJ Beathard had to come in and almost save the day, honestly. So it was a lot closer than people think. If the 2-point conversion goes through, and then they're already in field goal range because then it's a tie. So, but I mean, George Kittle had a game of games, dude.
Yeah, 15 for 183 and a touchdown.
It scored me 42 points in my fantasy league.
And of course, your guy Brandon Ayuk had a 38-yard rushing touchdown.
Bruh, did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, no.
It's the number 1 play on SportsCenter. He literally hurdles the dude to score. He jumps, hurdles, and the dude goes right through his legs, and he jumps completely over him and lands perfect and lands on his feet and then scores a touchdown.
Nice.
It's sick, dude. It's so sick.
So we talked about it a little bit last week, but we got the Packers and the Falcons obviously are playing each other tonight. The Falcons are +7. 57 is the over-under. I know we talked about it a little bit, and we said basically if the Packers go down by 10 in the fourth quarter, call your bookie and just start betting money.
I bet the Packers immediately because it's about to happen.
But yeah, so we said the +7. I can't remember my pick. I have to look at it, but I think the over-under. We said over for sure. So these two quarterbacks are just going to throw for a ton of yards.
Yeah.
But I think the +7 for the Falcons. I think I took the 7 because they usually lose close games, so that 7 I think helps you out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what I did, but I'll take the Packers here. I think the Packers. I mean, there's no Devontae. Actually, there's no Devontae Adams. I'm taking the Packers.
All right, Packers
Give me
-7.
Packers.
And then, of course, the game we're really excited about, which I think has already started, but we've got the Patriots and the Chiefs, 10.5 now that Brian Hoyer is the starter, and 50 is the over-under. That 10.5, I really don't think that I would take the Patriots in the 10.5 because I think Bill Belichick's going to have an extremely run-heavy game. They're going to control the clock. They're probably going to lose this game, but it's going to be, 38 minutes time of possession for the Patriots. They're just going to hold that ball as long as possible, kick a lot of field goals. Let's say they score 12 points, all field goals, and maybe they lose, 28-12. Well, I guess I would then take the Chiefs. Take the Chiefs, give up the 10.5 because that's going to have 28-12 doesn't cover the spread.
Sounds like last week. Nobody can stop the Chiefs offense. Wait, they're only going to score 10. Take what? Take the Chiefs always. Always take the Chiefs. Always take the points. Take the over. This game might be bad. This game might get bad.
It's going to be ugly.
Yeah. This one, because again, Stephon Gilmore's not going to be following around Tyreek Hill. He's probably going to be following around Sammy Watkins. He just usually doesn't follow around the quick guy. He just doesn't. I don't know. So it should be an interesting game. Travis Kelce's just a tough matchup, because then you can't essentially key on a wide receiver because then you can't single up Travis Kelce. So I don't know. It's a tough offense to defend.
I think the big mismatch for the Patriots is going to be their linebackers on Edwards-Helaire. I think that's going to be a huge match.
Well, I think Kelce and Edwards-Helaire against the Patriots linebackers is where the game's going to be won. Yeah.
All right, so that kind of wraps up our show. We did go a little bit over, but obviously we gave you a full rundown. Wednesday, which is in a couple of days from now, we're going to have our This Day in History, which is a favorite. We're going to talk about next week 5 picks, and we'll see if I can do any better. I've just been dog shit. Don't go with my picks at all. Because
at this point, just follow me. I'm crushing right now.
But other than that, yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening, downloading. Visit the store, buy some stuff, support the show. And obviously, if you want to throw it to Kenny, I guess.
Yeah. Real quick, thank you, everybody. Ellen, Laura, Rick, Coach, I love you. All you guys, thank you so much for watching. Everybody in the watch party, we appreciate it. Mom, thank you for throwing the watch party. At this point, I'm pretty sure Kenny's kicking down my door. That you, bro?